Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to this last session, last event organized by the Aberdeen Italian Circle for this season. We are going to be right in the middle of Faenza, the International Museum of Ceramics, with the director of the museum, Claudia Casali. Please keep your microphones muted. There will be an opportunity for everyone to ask questions at the end of this session. Please be patient because Claudia Casali is broadcasting from the museum. There are thick walls. It's an old monastery building. So we may have some technical glitches. If this happens, please be patient. It may be a matter of a few seconds or a couple of minutes, and then we will connect again. We had a couple of test sessions. They went well. So I trust that this is going to be all right also this evening. As I said, there will be a time for questions at the end of the evening. What is going to happen? Claudia is going to give us a short presentation, and then her colleague Monica is going to show us around a part of the museum, and then Claudia again will pick it up and will show us a different part of the museum as well. And now I will pass it over to my colleague Giulia Merzani, who is going to introduce Claudia Casali. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm thrilled to have with us tonight Claudia Casali, the museum director. Claudia is passionate and knowledgeable about all forms of ceramic art. She spent all of her career in the art world, starting with her PhD on contemporary art at the University of Udine. She then worked for different museums and institutions organizing events and exhibitions. A significant part of her career was at the Exhibition and Events Office of the Art Museum in Ravenna, and she has been the director of the International Museum of Ceramics in Faenza since 2011. It is a unique and precious site that preserves, displays, and promotes the art of ceramic worldwide. As a complement to the museum's promotional activity, Claudia also leads the art magazine Faenza and coordinates the Premio Faenza, which is a recognized international prize on ceramic art. She's an opinion leader for contemporary ceramic art, giving lectures and international events across the globe, from Europe to Far East and Central and South America. Claudia also contributes to art magazines, newspaper, and others publications. So now I let her start. It's an honor for me to have you here. And her presentation, and she will take us on an exciting journey through the Museum of Ceramic of Faenza.
Thank you very much, Giulia. It's my pleasure to stay with you this night, together with my colleague Monica. We are trying to do an experiment, and but we will be able to manage, and your patient will be important just in case there will be some problems. So I will start with a short presentation of the museum, and you have maybe some of you knows this beautiful place of Faenza, which is a very interesting city of 60,000 people in the center north of Italy. And this museum is a unique museum of ceramic art, international ceramic art. And I'm very honored to be the director of it, because it is something really extraordinary, because it was founded in 1908 with the purpose of being international. So it is not just a ceramic, an Italian ceramic museum, which normally has a collection of the region or of Italian art ceramic, but it is international. That means that we collect pieces of ceramic art from 4,000 before Christ till today, from every region, every country, and every civilization. Some numbers, because it is a big museum, 16,000 square meters of show on 3 floors. And as I told you, it was founded in 1908. And it was a kind of very modern experiment of museum, because the director, the original director, tried to make a kind of system around the museum. That means a library, that means a school, and a ceramic review for studies, research, that it is nowadays a unique in his type. And there was a bombing during the Second World War, and it was rebuilt. And it was rebuilt in a modern way. It was enlarged. And today we have 55,000 pieces, 76,000 books, international books of ceramics, and 16 square meters of show. And in 2011, when I just arrived in the museum, there was this UNESCO knowledge of a monument testifying the ceramic art in the world. So we are very proud of it. And as it was said, it is a convent, and the structure, it is an old building of the 15th century and a new one that we will see later. And there is this beautiful courtyard that we are using, especially in the summer, for concert, theater, and a lot of events that are connecting this museum to the city and to the arts. Because our idea is that this museum is not just a collection of ceramic art, but it is a site, a place of culture in all the senses, and it is going to connect all the arts. And here we are, and you see at my back this part of the museum, which is the ancient part, where it is shown the pieces of Faenza from the Middle Age till the Renaissance, which was very important for Faenza and for Italy, of course. And this is the view of the night, and we will see later in a very specific tour. And we have a particular section devoted to Italian art, European art, international art, and we have, and Monica will show you, we have one of the biggest collection of Mesoamerican art. It is the second collection in the world outside, of course, the country of the Central America. And we have a very particular part of the beginning of the 20th century, which is devoted to modern style, which was the renaissance of ceramic in the modern age. This is the European part. But what is very important, we have also Picasso, and you will see later this part. What is very important of this museum is that we are always changing the setting of the museum. Each 6 months, more or less, we are changing the setting, because, as you know, the majority of the museum in Italy has got the 70% of pieces in the storage. And that is a very bad thing. And the fact that we are trying to renovate the setting is very important also for our public, for researchers, and for the students, because we have many For example, we have many students of design that are coming and visiting our museum for their studies. And as I told you, that we have this amazing library. This is the old part with this wooden shelf, and it is very important because we have many researchers coming from all over the world asking for important articles, books that are just in our library. And what was important in starting from the end of the 70s was the restoration department that was installed, and it was a sort of result of all the fragments that were collected during the bombing. As you see, these images of 1946 are telling us a very bad moment of Italy and of the museum. And starting from this, there was this consciousness of starting an important section, restoration department, that last year celebrate 40 years. And we are still working on these pieces. And there are important lessons together with the University of Ravenna, who has got a special department for ceramic restoration. And here you have some images of this student of the University of the Restoration that are working together with us. And we are also working with for spatial pieces, monuments inside the cities together with the university. So there is this connection, very, very important with the students, with the educational department of the universities, because we would like to be a part that is creating something for the future and something for their future. And at the same time of the building of the restoration department, there was the experience of the didactic department together with this intellectual Bruno Munari that was developing an idea of that is very basically sentence. Children through playing can learn a lot. And so the idea of this playing with ceramics arrived till today with this beautiful ceramics that we have in the city and in all our country. And so we have many didactic activities. Faenza is a small town, as I told you. It's just 60,000 inhabitants, but we have students coming for our activities from all over Italy, and we have around, in the good season, around 10,000 students attending our workshop, our guided tours, and so on. But also the didactic department is working for adults, and we make activities together with the restoration department and together with the schools. This is the place that was conceived in this way by Munari, it's himself, and these are some examples of how we create some events together with the school, because the idea is to connect students, school, museum inside, and trying to organize programs inside their didactic programs. And so here we have some example of these works. It was a special European project that involved different museums from Europe and one from England, Stoke-on-Trent. I remember. So, and as Giulia said, I am the responsible of the Faenza Prize, which was the long-lasting prize competition devoted to ceramic art since 1938. So a long, long history. And today we had the chance to to experiment a way online very different from usual, because we were not able to organize the exhibition, even if we made the selection of the artists, but we wanted them to have a place, and we organized some events online, and we published a very nice book where each artist had a very important place, and it had a good success, because in these days we are receiving a lot of positive comments. And here there are some images of the last competition, which was celebrating the 80 years of the Faenza Prize. And what is very important for our museum is the connection with all the world of the ceramic world, the ceramic museum. And we have different projects, European projects, the European Street of Ceramic, for example. This was a project, as I told you, where was involved Stoke-on-Trent, and with his beautiful Potteries Museum Art Gallery. We have now Serde, which is a project borderline for museum, because it is more involving entrepreneurs and designer. But the aim of our museum is, as I told you, is not just collecting, but creating a connection with all the realities working on ceramic. And so this is one of our project still on. And we are exhibiting, and we have many connections with China, and especially with Japan. And this was the promotion of an amazing exhibition in 5 cities in China. 5 cities, so a traveling exhibition, which had more than 2 million visitors. So it was something that is unbelievable for European museum, and especially for Italian museum. So, as I told you, there is a Faenza system, as we call it. It is not the museum, but also research and education. We have these 2 important institutes, scientific institution based in Faenza, which are working for the welfare, wellness, medicine in ceramic. And it is something that started long time ago, and that we are now used to this, because when you have to restore a tooth, you use ceramic. When you have some problem with an ankle or a knee, you use ceramic. And also the first experiment of a prosthesis for the head was experienced in Faenza, in Istec CNR. And we have also the University of Design working with us. And it is very important, because they have a special department of ceramic, and they are producing and experiencing very different projects in all the design section. And we are working also with association and private institution inside the city, like Faenza Art Ceramic Center, which is organizing many courses of ceramic art and experiences on ceramic subjects. And then we are arriving to the end, finally. And then there is this very important Ceramic Biennale festival, which is Argila, which is taking place each 2 years in September in Faenza. It was a project born in Aubagne, in the south of France, and we are a twin city of Aubagne, and we try to make 1 year in France and 1 year in Italy this festival. Why it is a festival? Because it exhibited more than 250 exhibitors coming, ceramists coming from all over Europe and also Far East, especially from Japan. And it is a feast of ceramic. In 2 days, we have around 90,000 people arriving in Faenza. And it is something expected from the city. This is the big place, the big square of the city, where especially in the night there are events on ceramic performances, and it is very, very interesting. You meet people from different countries, you share experiences, and there is of course a selection at the beginning of the year for selecting the most interesting workshop that could attend this market, because it is a market. And we are very proud of it, because it is a very complicated organization, but as museum and as the city of Faenza together, we can till now had a great success. It was supposed to be last year, but of course for the pandemic situation we were not able to do it, so we postponed it to next year. So all of you will be our guest, and we hope that you will see Faenza very soon. So thank you for your attention. I hope not to take longer, because I think it will be better to see directly the museum with Monica and me in presence.
Thank you very much, Claudia, for this fantastic overview. And I must admit that, you know, there were a lot of things that you said I wasn't aware of. And I'm sure that also many people in our audience weren't aware that it was such a big institution. And also that you had such a big restoration department. So that was on its own fascinating. If you can stop sharing your screen.
Yeah.
We can, here you are, back to normal screen. Can we see if we manage to connect with Monica Gori, who is a colleague of Claudia Casali, and she'll be waiting for us in another part of the museum.
Let's see. Okay, Monica, are you there?
Yes, I am here. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the ground floor of the museum, where we preserve all of the ancient civilization. It is a real tour all along the world. We are starting from the Far East, from China, and here we have a window where we can see a funerary set that represent one of the ancient production of China, coming from the Tang dynasty, Yuan and Tang dynasty. In particular, we have these small figurines that represent what was found inside the tomb of the noble family of aristocracy. They used to group all the objects that can remember them their real life. We have a dancer, we have a handmaiden, a servant. In this period, the technique on ceramic was not so important because ceramic was considered like something spiritual. The technique started later with the Song dynasty, but reached the peak with the Ming dynasty, the well-known Ming dynasty that enchanted the European country with wonderful pieces of ceramica. Here we have some celadon pieces coming from the region of Longchuan, one of the most important region of production of ancient celadon made of stoneware with decoration in the surface, molded decoration of peony that represented the spring, the new birth, the new life for the earth. Many decorations were symbolic. And here we have the Ming dynasty represented through the most important decoration of the white and blue made of cobalt glaze. In particular, I want to show you this bottle. You see it is a very precious and ancient pieces coming from the 16th century. Why it is so important? Because it represents a well-refined porcelain sculpture, but the neck is a connection, represents a connection with the Islamic world. In fact, the cobalt blue was bought in the Persian area and arrived in China through the merchant that exchanged the goods with between the two civilizations. And this neck, this protection made of metal, engraved metal, was a kind of protection because the neck of the bottle was very, very fragile. So they used it both for decoration in a creative way, but also in a utilitaristic way. The Chinese, I hope that you are able to see it quite in a detailed way, because these pieces are really wonderful and refined. I want to show you, for example, this vase, and the decoration is something that deserves attention, because in the surface we can see many colors. And in order to obtain this vase, it was necessary to fire the pieces many times. The first for the vase made in a very high temperature in order to file the porcelain that is rich in kaolin, a material that is rich in glass. And later, the low firing allowed to reach this fantastic color on the surface in order to give an effect of naturalistic effect. You can see also the pink detail. The pink detail arrived later in the technique because they were an elaboration of a study made on gold. And it was obtained by the powder of calcium, a very refined and rare powder. Here we have an interesting window. It represents all the pieces that during the Ming were produced on a commission. After the first period, when all the kiln belonged to the emperor, the kiln set free from the rule of the emperor and became private. And during this period of private production, they were more free to use the creativity, to accept designers from Europe in order to create really interesting sets that are halfway between Chinese culture and European culture. So you can see, for example, on the back of the window, there's a small object that is created in order to hold a clock. And this is a vase for the night. So also interesting and funny object. When the Chinese produced the object for themselves, for the emperor, for the internal market, they were very refined, but simply in the shape. You see a synthetic shapes very simple bowls. Also, the decoration is very, very refined. In particular, this dragon, the red dragon, this is better visible, I hope, was admired from the European, so that Meissen, when started to produce porcelain in the 18th century, used this symbol for the table set. Just something to show you in order to explain also the creativity linked to the devotional purposes. These are the 8 immortal of the Taoist religion. It is a kind of devotional set for the wreath. And again, we have pieces from the pink family. The pink family, very refined and well known in Europe because it's also quite rare. I close with China, showing you a panel of color. This Flemish red, this turquoise and green. You can see this wonderful experiment on the color that they used on porcelain, but not also only on porcelain, also on stoneware. In particular, this yellow was well known in Europe because it was very rare. It was used for the set, the private set of the emperor. In fact, it is called yellow, Emperor Yellow. A guanyin, a statue used to protect the house. You can see an object that is used to keep away the fly from the house, and the vase she is putting, leaving ambrosia on the floor in order to create an enchanting set. Okay, we leave now China and come to Japan. Our travel goes on with another civilization that found its root in a very, very ancient time. Japan is started their tradition with the Yomon epoch, and they used stoneware above all in a very simple and refined way, because all these objects were linked to funerary set or to some habit linked to their culture. For example, here we have a set used for writing. All these small vessels were used to keep water, and the water was dropped in the ink powder in order to get the ink. You know that Japanese writing is a form of art. So it was necessary to have a spiritual setting in order to carry on this form of art. Another form of art, in a certain way, was the tea set. In particular, this tea set is linked to the Raku family. The Raku ceramic today is on ceramic, is a way of firing and producing ceramic, but it started like an habit to create zaps for the emperor. In the 16th century, the first potters that was the responsible to create the cup for the emperor was called Raku. He was a fat person of dynasty, a dynasty that is still alive, and today the last member of dynasty, Kikiazemon Raku, is still working, and it is a national treasure in Japan. But Japan was also famous for porcelain. They started later to produce porcelain. Porcelain was not in their spirit since the beginning of the origin of Japan. They understood that it was important also for the trade. So in the 16th century, during the invasion of Korea, Japanese take with them some Korean potters. You know that Korean potters was very, very skillful, and they helped Japan to set their first kiln for producing a wonderful porcelain. Here we have one of the most famous style, that is Imari. I'm sure that you know Imari ceramic because it was really on fashion during the 19th century in all the expo in Europe. In fact, in this period, the Dutch merchant established themselves in the dock of Arita in order to sell, to collect porcelain and to sell them all over Europe. I'm not sure that it's too late. I'm going fast. Just a dish. It's very refined. I want to show you because it's a symbol. It is a wedding gift. We can see two cards. You can see them. They are under the net, and they represent the marriage. And they are the wife and the husband swimming together in the sea. And it is a gift that represented good luck for them. At the end of this collection, we have many contemporary pieces that, as Claudia explained to you, most of them came from Faenza Prize, and the other came from donation or exhibition that we arranged at the museum. Also, the Japanese collection is one of the most important in Italy. And now we are in South America. Well, in South America, we can tell you an interesting story through these works. The works are very important because they tell us something about their story, their habits, how this civilization, Maya, Aztec, Inca, were completely destroyed by the conquerors from Spain. And so why is it so important to preserve these pieces? Because they testify their believings, their way of living, the way they considered woman, for example. I want to show you these pieces. It's a devotional sculpture. It was used to preserve the place where women who died for birth after having had a baby were buried. And so they were buried like warriors with great honor. And it was necessary to celebrate them with devotional sculpture. Here we have a warrior, very elegant and celebrative of his role. Other warriors from the Maya and Aztec area, Central America and North America in the area, Mexico area and Caribbean area. You can see that these works are not detailed in the technique. All of them are produced with a low firing technique, with earthenware colored with natural colors used with slipware on the surface. But they are so elegant and so creative. I hope that the light is not okay. I have some problem with the light. Okay, so you can see the decoration made with natural glaze, natural slipware. Many artists in contemporary time found these pieces very interesting, very creative, and they were a kind of stimulus for their creativity. One of them, for example, was Picasso. Now we are going to the European context. It is a European gallery. Here we found our roots. You see pieces coming from all the European countries. You see the map over there. And in particular, in this wall, we have pieces coming from European plant and manufacture from the very south of Europe up to Delft and the northern country. They were grouped at the beginning of the museum in 1980 when the museum was founded, because they were donated to the museum during an expo in Faenza. After the Second World War, the museum was destroyed and it was necessary to rebuild the museum. Many artists offered their help with gifts, and one of them was Picasso. I want to show you these pieces. It was donated in 1950 and was donated by Picasso himself to the museum. And together with this donation, he said, I want to donate something to Faenza, because who say Faenza in the world says ceramics. So it was very important for us, and was very important for the museum that started again the collection, and the collection step by step became one of the hugest and greatest, most important in the world. Here we see also Matisse, Chagall, so you can understand how important was and is ceramic for artists, for potters, for people in general, that through this material express their creativity in the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Monica. A fantastic tour of this part of the museum. It is amazing to see how many different pieces from so many different cultures. It's really wonderful, and I think it has inspired many of us to visit, hopefully in a not too distant future. So I think we will now, am I correct in thinking we are now connecting back with Claudia, who should be, here you are.
Yes, here we are again, and I hope you hear me.
Yes, very well,
yes,
thank you.
Okay, perhaps there is one echo, but we are still in the ancient part of the museum, and I'm going to show you where we are. So we are in the part devoted to the 14th century. And of course, this is the structure of the convent. And this is the part devoted to Faenza from the 14th century till we will see the Renaissance part. And we have these small cells where we can find some subjects they are thematic, and I'm gonna show you some important pieces that are significant for our collection, and one will be a surprise for Julia, for example. And yes, so you know that Faenza was very important for ceramic since the Middle Age, and but many cities in Italy were important, and these are some of the styles that were popular in the 14th century. For example, this is the style connected to porcelain, because at that time we didn't know how to create porcelain, and we just use the white and blue as an example of painting. And this is the symbol, one of the symbols of Faenza, Giulia Bella. It's a present that was given during the marriage. As a symbol, it is this Julia, that means Julia, is not just the symbol of beauty, but the symbol of virtue. So the adjective that we use, bella, is something very moral and very important for the family. And it is one of the symbols of the city of Faenza and of Faenza ceramic. Then we enter here and we see some beautiful sculpture of the 15th century. And of course, it was not just plates that were painted, but also sculpture that were realized and were concretely made in that period. And it was very, very important, the fact that in the workshop of Faenza, there were also very important painters. This is the blue berrettino, another style that was used in the 15th and 16th century. And this is another symbol that unfortunately the light is not good. And it is one of the first dated and signed ceramic in the 16th century, 1529. And then we can see a special part of this section, which is devoted to the white of Faenza. Many of you knows that Maiolica is also named faience, but it is connected with this very special period when this white of Faenza spread out in Europe, thanks to a connection, a very important connection with nobles, with dukes and politics, and in all the noble houses, European noble houses, it was used to have this beautiful manufacture belonging to Faenza, and that's why this white of Faenza became popular. It became something very special for the table, special for the families, the noble families. And for that reason, the name Faenza became a synonym of Maiolica. Okay, and then we enter in the part that Sandra likes most, which is the part of the Renaissance in Italy, and which is this part. Perhaps it is better to use like this, and you see in a better way. And this part is important because it is divided into region, and you see the level of the Italian ceramic in that period. For example, here we are in Castelli d'Abruzzo with this beautiful blue and gold. And then we go to the very center of Italy, where Raphael was very important for all this historiato that became very, very famous after the death of Raphael. And we have a very important collection here in the museum with important pieces that have the thematic of the myth, of the iconography of the stories. And it is, as I told you, not just plates, but we can see also some beautiful, for example, this is a sculpture for the scriptorio, for the studies of the nobleman. Here other beautiful sculpture. So it was very important to create something that that could decorate the house of the noble. And then we go to the to a part devoted to the Tuscany with this beautiful della Robbia, world known as for example this Andrew, which is very interesting because, as you know, it is not all glazed, but it is a part terracotta and another one as typical of della Robbia. And then we go on and we finish the Renaissance part. So that was the exhibition I was trying to show you. And we enter in the new part of the museum. And you see that new part means 20th century. So it is completely different, the style, completely different, the exhibition. And we start with the modern style, Art Nouveau, with very well-known pieces of Art Nouveau that are amazing for their the use of glazes, but Faenza was important also for the avant-garde, for the futurism. And here we have some pieces of Marinetti and company, as we said. And for example, this is a beautiful coffee set, and you see the form of the cup, which is octagonal, and also other pieces of avant-garde, futuristic, that are very famous in all the books of this new movement that arrived in Europe. And here I can show you this piece because I love it. And it was, of course, destroyed during the bombing of the Second World War. And we weren't able to restore it. And we leave it like this. We try to organize all the other parts because it was very, very destroyed, and but it was missing of some pieces. And we originally have an image of it before the bombing, and the face was completely different. And here it seems to be astonished of what happened to the museum and what happened to herself. And so we leave it like this, and we didn't restore in not creating a false. And then in this part, still Art Nouveau, we have this beautiful piece of Richard Ginori, which is amazing. This big vase with these three ladies dancing, and a very well-known pieces donated, and the majority of these pieces were donated by families, manufacturers. This is Gio Ponti, which was one of the founder of the modern idea of the manufacturing. And he was in 1923, he started his collaboration with Richard Ginori with a new idea, completely new idea of production. And then I can show you one deco piece, which is interesting because it was awarded with a gold medal in Paris, 1925, at the event that was the birth of deco style. And then the last part that I'm going to show you this evening is the very modern part with interesting pieces that belongs to contemporary art, contemporary age. So you see the development of ceramic from the very beginning. We see some pieces from the Chinese before Christ, and we arrive through Picasso to this modern, very modern and contemporary sculpture that are created today. I'm going to show you one piece in particular that was installed last week before the opening of the museum again, which is this piece of Akiyama, Japanese artist, which was restored together with the University of Ravenna. It's a very, very big piece of 6 meters. And it was a long restoration because, of course, it was a special technique used by this artist, Japanese artist. And that's all. I think I tried to show you what was a view of our museum. We can stay here longer, but I think that perhaps it is better to stop, and if there are questions, of course, yes, we are here.
Thank you so much, Claudia and Monica. It was really a fantastic tour. We had a very good flyover the different sections, and I think again, you know, there is so much to learn and so much to see. So you said you have just reopened. Am I correct?
Yes, yes. We open Tuesday after the lockdown, and we are very happy for this because, of course, having a museum closed is not working. It is something that we cannot, even if we were working, we were inside the museum working for the reopening, and at the end of May, for example, we will open a new section devoted to design. And we are still working on project, but without the public it is not a museum, I may say. And so we are organizing small groups, so the reopening is very difficult, but we think that starting from culture, we can start to rebuild a kind of life, a return to life.
Of course.
So that's the idea.
I totally agree. So if there is anyone in our audience who would like to ask a question, please feel free. I think probably it works better if you have a reaction button at the bottom of your screen. If you go over it with your mouse, you can find it, and you can use the raised hand function so that you can make yourself visible, and I can see if there is anyone who would like to ask a question. Please go ahead and do it now. And in the meantime,
in any case, if there, I hope that our presentation gave you some curiosity, and of course, we are waiting for you in Faenza.
Absolutely.
And so you will visit our territory, our city, and of course the museum, and you will really enjoy a beautiful place.
there is so much to see and enjoy, absolutely. I wanted to ask you, Claudia, while we wait a moment to see if anyone want to ask something. You were talking about the big restoration department that you have, and I wanted to ask you, do you have also artists in residence? Do you have artists who come to work in your museum? Or
yes, we are organizing also some residencies, and in this very moment, we have Salvatore Arancio, who received a grant from the Italian Council for making a project in Faenza, in the museum, which will be exhibited in all the Italian cities where there is an Italian institute, in the Italian Institute abroad. Mm-hmm. And it is an important project connected with the Dante celebrations, and he is organizing, he is making different sculptures in a special project that is also for a part of it is dedicated to the rebuild of the museum in 1953 after the bombing, and connected to the restoration department. And during the summer we will have 4 weeks of workshop with the 4 Italian artists and 1 for European artists. And yes, we try to involve artists and designers inside the museum, because we think that it is very important to create a connection with our collection. Oh. And as Monica said, many artists are amazed by the collection, and especially from the very ancient civilization. Especially Mesoamerican, for example. Okay. And so it's very important, and it's very interesting to see all the connection that they make intellectually and conceptually. So it's sometimes we discover something that we don't know through their eyes.
Yes, of course, of course. Anyone who want to put something forward, share their thoughts or ask a question? Liz, did you want to ask something?
But in any case, if there are no questions, and if there will be question, you will find my email address, and you will address me.
Yes, of course.
Everything, any question, any interest,
as you
idea,
know,
and I will answer.
Course.
Don't worry.
Of course, you know, as you know, I love the Renaissance ceramic that you showed earlier on, and I was really impressed about all the different coat of arms that were on some of the pieces. So you can go back and trace back the history of all these pieces, who they were made for.
Yes, it is very important, because many families use the ceramic for celebrating their coat of arms and their history. So we have many examples, not just in the Italian part, but also from other European beautiful setting, for example. And that was very sometimes it is amazing, because you discover interesting stories of these families, and as you know, the coat of arms is including many elements and many symbols that are telling a story of centuries. So it's something very amazing.
Absolutely. I just recognized some pieces that I've seen in a presentation last week. There is a big conference that has been going on, organized by the Renaissance Society of America, and there was one of the scholars presenting on the ceramic plates, the Raphaelesques, with the historiated plates that you have shown before. So I will get back to you and let you know about that paper and about that presentation. So it was a nice connection that
yes,
that was fortuitous, but timely.
Yes, this is one I didn't show you, but for example, this is very, very famous because it is the connection with Faenza and the family, the Medici
the
family.
Medici family, of course, the coat of
connection with Florence was very, very important because it is the placing of Faenza in the geography of Italy that was strategical for all the politics of their Renaissance time.
Absolutely, absolutely. You see, a lot of people don't make the connections, do not think about the fact that actually these are very rich pieces, all individually hand painted as well. So it was for rich people.
Yes, what is important, as you said, it is through a piece of ceramic, you create a story also of what is the politics of the age and all the connection between the families. So it's something important for telling not just the artistical part of the piece, but it is also giving you more than what is a simple view of a piece.
Of course, it is absolutely true. Well, I will say thank you very, very much, Claudia. Thank you to your colleague Monica for a wonderful, wonderful tour. Thanks to Julia because she organized this event, and you know, we are delighted that we can close our season with this wonderful tour of the International Museum of Ceramics in Faenza. Before we say goodbye, I would just like to say a few things. This is the end of the season, but we are going to be back on September 15th. We are going to start again with a new program. So please keep an eye on our website, aberdeenitaliancircle.org. I would like just to thank a lot of people. First of all, David Dreyer. Without him, and without his expertise and patience, we would have never been able to broadcast all these events. We started back in September. It has been a long journey. We learned a lot. And so thank you, David, for helping. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Julia. Gavin Bell, our Vice President, Julia Milzani, our committee members that co-organized and co-presented with me in different times. Our committee members, in no particular order, Mary Dargy, Liz Gilmore, Maureen Melvin, Margaret Jubb, Rona Bean. Thank you so, so much for your help throughout this year. Thanks to our speakers. We had so many different, interesting, thought-provoking presentations. Thanks to our audience, particularly to all the Dante groups in the UK who have followed us, Loughborough, Lanark, Manchester, Nottingham. I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. Thank you so much for your support. It has been fantastic to have you here, to see your names when we had our events. Please continue to follow us again. Follow us on Facebook as well. If you missed any of our presentations, you can watch them in YouTube. It's just enough to digit Aberdeen Italian Circle in YouTube and you can find our old videos. And thanks again to the people who donated to our group and in doing so allowed us to continue to work and talk about Italian culture and society in the UK, in Italy and beyond. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone and see you on September 15th. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Grazie. Grazie a tutti. Grazie.